All right. The foreman factor. Why 80% of your project success hinges on this one role. Marty, tell me more.
Kia ora and welcome. Yeah, you don't build your business, you build your team. Your team build the business by following the systems and process that you help install. And because your foreman or your site supervisor is on site, your superintendent is on site 90% of the time, they're the person who drives the crews, make sure that the team know the score, make sure that they're doing the quality to the correct standards, and also make sure that because they're in the client's house if it's a renovation or a remodel. And so it really hinges on them because 80% of the project is based on their input and the labor, time and quality.
100%. So most people see their foreman as more like a glorified carpenter and an elevated, get shit doneer. But really we want to view them as kind of like your 2IC, your operations manager, your mini CEO, your, get shit done with real authority. So remembering, we want to build a business that gives us more time and more money. If we don't build a business, but instead just a busy job with overheads, we're going to be trapped in a bit of a prison. So this person is 100% forms part of your escape plan.
Exactly. And I think what you've just mentioned there is key, is having the guardrails and the systems and you need to inspect what you expect. So you need to be able to have your toolbox meeting each day, have the foreman run that to the specific agenda, make sure that the forecast labour hours are in process versus the actual, make sure that the quality standards are being adhered to with the 287-point quality assurance checklist, and then also make sure that variations are being captured, signed off, and invoiced each week.
100%. I've got stats here from members in their first 60 days. So in the first 60 days of the program, we do an audit of everybody's time and we work out what they're spending their time on, where they could be buying it back, and who they should be maybe delegating some tasks to. And the stat is this: 76% of builders are spending 15 or more hours weekly on tasks that their foreman can handle. Insanity.
Exactly. Like I think we've got a checklist of 15 tasks that your foreman can take off your plate as the owner in the next 30 days to buy you back at least 1 or maybe 2 days per week. And so it's critical that you don't abdicate. It's critical and say, hey, right, have at it. You're going to start doing client meetings. You're going to start doing toolbox meetings with the boys. You're going to be responsible for making sure the labour hours come in on time. So it's critical to train each phase, get them comfortable with each key specific strategy that you're putting in place. So if we put the quality assurance checklist in place, that's there for the guardrails to make sure that each stage is done to the right quality and to make sure that it's set up for the council or for the building inspector to come and sign it off, and there's no rework needs to be done.
Yep, 100%. So I just got back from workshops in Tauranga, Taupo, and Whangarei, and big conversation that we had with everybody over there is around the shift from busy builder to business owner.
Yes.
So if you're a busy builder, you're going to roll your sleeves up, get shit done, fix it with your two hands, and make sure that you're the best employee of the company. A business owner, though, which is ultimately what you are if you're listening to this and you're running a residential building company, they solve problems with people and with process. They have leverage and they use their team and they use the process that they build and install with their team to get more done than they could otherwise by themselves entirely. So one of the best things that we need to start thinking about is redefining your role from builder to business owner and to leader. And it's your job to now lead the team and to give them the guide rails and the guardrails to make sure that they are successful. So technical skills don't equal leadership abilities, meaning sometimes your foreman might be very good technically, but you might need to help and support them around some of the aspects of leadership and what tough decisions look like and what problem solving looks like as well.
Exactly. How are they leading their team on site? So do they, number one, have a scorecard so that they know and you know, am I winning? And it might include, it's going to include one WIG or wildly important goal, and it's going to include 2 or 3 key drivers or key performance indicators. So the WIG might be the most important, wildly important goal for an on-site foreman might be labor hours, forecast versus actual, and getting that to within 5%. So if the target over a project is 1,200 hours, you want to make sure that you're within 5% of that, and not wait until the horse is bolted, until you get to the end of the project and you're like, holy shit, we've gone 250 hours over. It's every week, broken down by stage. The framing was going to be 85 hours we'd allocated. Hey, we're halfway through the project, through the framing, but shit, we're not sitting at 42 and a half hours, we're sitting at 65 hours. What do we got to do to pull back those 22 and a half hours over the next 10 weeks? Otherwise, no one's getting their bonus.
Yeah, exactly. So great example of this was Tim in Auckland. Rewrote his job description. So he went through the Freedom Finder exercise, identified all the tasks that were below his PBR, his professional builder's rate, worked out with all those tasks that are below it, should he delegate them, dump them, eliminate them, automate them, or systemize them, right? So what we did is we worked out which ones were going to be handed to the foreman, and then we can rewrite the whole foreman job description using the top 15 tools, but then also adding in the specifics from Tim into the new foreman's JD, job description. So one of the biggest things that came out of that exercise was that the foreman had no idea what success looked like from a business perspective. He understood being on site, he understood what success looked like from a site point of view, tidy, clean, timeline, making sure that the guys were all busy. But from a business point of view, it's budget, profitability, whether we're going to be able to be efficient with our labor across multiple sites as well. So on that scorecard that we want to give the guys, we want to make sure that they're not just seeing only their site, but how their site relates to the wider success of the entire company. Because we can't have site A paying for the losses of site B. We need every project to be profitable. And then we want to basically work out how you can set up a scorecard so that each site is competing against the other site to a degree.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And one of the big things to making sure that happens is visibility equals accountability. So if they're having to put up their numbers every week in terms of forecast versus actual, then you're going to get much closer to the score. Because if you want to lose weight, the best thing you can do every day is jump on the scales and track your weight. And then, so that's a wildly important goal, your weight going down. The KPIs or the drivers of that are what are you putting in your mouth every day.
Yep.
And and you need to be in a calorie deficit. So if you work out, hey, I'm eating 2,500 calories a day and you're not losing weight, then go down to 2,250 calories. If you're still not losing weight, go down to 2,000 calories. And so it is with reporting labor hours versus forecast. If everyone's aware of it, the foreman's aware of it, the team's aware of it, then we want to make sure that not only are we keeping track, but how are we actually rewarding and incentivizing them for hitting those goals.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the key problems that most people run up against when they're trying to go, hey, I do want to elevate my foreman. I want to delegate stuff to them, but they're already calling me 10 times a day. Is this just going to mean they're going to call me 20 times a day? Are you a business owner running a residential construction company? If so, save the date. On Thursday and Friday, May the 22nd and the 23rd, we're running our Builders Summit at the Park Hyatt in Auckland. It's the biggest business summit for building company owners in the country. Across 11 expert sessions, we'll show you exactly how to either tweak or overhaul and transform your business into a profitable, streamlined building company. You'll get access to breakthrough strategies that have already helped over 3,000 of our residential members grow their businesses. Plus, just by being in the room, you get over $2,500 in extra bonus resources that you can implement into your business. We've got 100 seats. Many of those are reserved for our members, but you might be able to claim one of the few remaining. What you need to do is go to www.builderssummit.co.nz or click the links below and we'll take you directly there. So what we want to do is once we've got those top 15 tasks, once we've got the additional specific ones to your situation, we want to pick those up and put them into a default calendar, a default perfect week, right? And this would look like ideally a default week for every position, one for you, the owner, one for you, the foreman, all the way down to the apprentice on site. For example, the apprentice in the morning, set the site up. Apprentice in the afternoon, pack the site down. Apprentice during the day, induct everyone through health and safety, sweep the site, fill the skip.
Get the lunch.
Exactly. Things that are below your foreman's hourly rate as well. Because while we've delegated everything below your hourly rate, we want to identify the foreman's hourly rate and then push it down so that the foreman can elevate up and focus on things like scheduling, council compliance, making sure that we're to timeline, budget, quality standard, and things like that. So this is something that that Rob in Queenstown did really well. He was fielding a heap of questions, a heap of phone calls. And then what we did is we made sure that everybody's role scope was really clear, and then everybody's responsibility in a week was really clear as well. So like default Monday looks like X, default Tuesday looks like this. And most of the days look identical every day, but it allows us to then build a system within each of those things. So for example, I'll go back and use the example of the apprentice setting site up in the morning. There's like a 7-point checklist to that, do a lap around site, make sure that nothing's happened overnight. Make sure that everything's unlocked. We've got the tools out in the right parts of the site. It's all swept down. It's tidy to get going. Where's the material getting delivered today? Is that place free and ready to be receiving it? So very simple stuff, but as long as it's documented, so that the new apprentice that comes in gets his employee onboarding handbook. Most of the members use the template that's on the membership site, and super simple. And they get up to speed really quickly.
Exactly. And I think as well as having a scorecard, you need to train your foreman. And there's some critical aspects that you need to train him in. One of the first things is how to read plans, so he knows what constitutes an inclusion, what constitutes an exclusion.
Yep.
So he then knows what is a variation or a change order. What's the process? So it gets priced up, gets through the office, gets signed off by the client and the company, and then it gets invoiced, and ideally each week as well. So you have good cash flow and no nasty surprises for the client at the end of the project.
Yeah, 100%. While we're on leadership and while we're on training the guys, most people, I hear the objection all the time, don't have time to train the guys.
If I train them, they'll leave. And it's like, well, what if you didn't train them and they stay?
Yeah, nightmare, right? So, but also additionally, there are going to be every single week at least 2 training opportunities, all right? 1 is your toolbox meeting every week, happens every Monday. And 2 is the daily stand-up. Think of it like a pre-shift in a restaurant. What's on the menu? What are we in stock of? What are we out of stock of? What do we have? What do we not have? Like your daily stand-up on site. What'd you do today? What are we doing tomorrow? What materials are arriving? What have we got? What do we not have? That's a training exercise where rather than you giving all the answers, you want to ask the questions and have them come with the answers so that 100%. You can either steward their mistake or you can course correct them before the mistake is made.
100%.
Yeah.
Can I add a
Please.
third? So whenever you have someone coming to you with a problem and they're saying, boss, how do I do this? The concrete truck's can't make it this afternoon. What do we do? Suddenly they've taken the problem or the monkey, taken it off their back and put it on you. And you as the company owner, the person who gives the shit the most about everything in the business and the holder of the quality standards, it now becomes your problem. So we want to build leaders.
Problem solvers.
Exactly.
Good businesses have good leaders. Good leaders are good problem solvers, and problem solving is a skill that you can learn. And here is how you learn it.
Exactly. A 3-step process called PSR. If you take one thing away from today, apply this and watch your business and your life change. And you can actually apply it with your kids and your wife as well. So, problem. What is the problem? So have them clearly define the problem. Next, solutions with an S. What are 3 potential solutions? And then our recommendation. Which one do you choose? What's the best option and why should we go with that? So the good thing about this is that you're testing critical thinking, you're testing their ability to problem solve, and you're really getting confidence and you're developing their leadership skills and you're developing their critical thinking and problem solving and giving them, building their confidence muscle as they solve problems in the right way, and you can help course correct them. And in this way, you build ownership, you build leadership, and you build autonomy for your crew to follow your standards.
Yeah, perfect. So there are 3 main times that you can adopt training: daily stand-up, toolbox meeting, anytime somebody comes to you with a problem. There are 2 ways that you would then unpack that problem with them: 131/PSR.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 problem at a time, 3 potential solutions, your 1 recommendation. And then there's also the 3 delegation questions that anytime you hand a problem or delegate a task to somebody, you should get them to answer for you, which is, do you know what to do? Do you know how to do it? And do you know when it needs to be done by? If they can answer yes to all three of those and explain to you the right answer for all three of those questions, then delegation hopefully should go pretty well. Do you know what to do? Do you know how to do it? And do you know when it needs to be done by? Please tell me, what are you doing? How are you going to do it? And when will you have it done by?
Absolutely. Where it can go wrong is when you have a small 10-year-old son and a 13-year-old. So yesterday I went to work and I said to Ashton, I'm going out, whatever you do, make sure you close the garage door. And so then I get up back in the morning, I'm like, what do you need to do, Ashton? He's like, I've got one job. I'm like, what is that? Close the garage door. I'm like, fantastic. And how do you do that? Oh, I press the button. I'm like, that's right. Okay. And then what do you know? I get home yesterday afternoon and the garage door's wide open. My car's there, motorbike's there. His phone is down beside the fridge, so obviously been on his phone before going to school. I walk inside, all the lights are on throughout the whole house. All the curtains are pulled, the cat and the dog haven't been fed, and I'm like, you're kidding me. I was just glad that I had half an hour to calm down with my anger management and my woosah before he got home. So consequently, no devices for him for till Monday for 3 days.
Oh my gosh, that's...
I took a video of it to send it to my wife who's overseas as well.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, okay, so what have we covered so far? We covered leadership. We've covered the right system, like putting the guys into a weekly default. And we've covered making sure that you've got, basically an outline of the scorecard for everybody.
I think one of our members, Ross in Auckland, said it best. He said, breaking the hours down, giving them targets is like playing a game of rugby. And if you don't have the score, then...
You're playing blind.
Yeah, we scored 35 points. Cool, well, what did the opposition score? Unless you know what is the opposition, and in this case, it's your forecast hours versus your actual labour hours. Mm-hmm. And it gives the team confidence, and they want to know the score, they're playing the game, and then if they're incentivised, they get a bonus out the back. So the foreman might be incentivised for 20% of the labour hours saved. So if you've got a 1,200 labour hour project, it comes in at 1,100 hours, you've got 100 hours, then he will get 20 of those hours at the charge out rate for his bonus. So 20 times $75. So he would get $1,500 for that. And that's just one way to do it. Quite a few of our members will use different set rates as well, depending on their charge out rate and their project management fee that they've put into the job.
100%. We're big on incentives. We love being able to give bonuses, and I'm sure if you're watching this and you're a professional builder, you probably want to reward your team as well. Problem is, you can't do that if it's just on gut feeling. Yeah, no, we're doing all right.
Exactly.
Like, here you go, here's that. Like, it's not going to work. You need to have against a scorecard and against data, data. Yep. Yeah, 100%.
And every meeting starts with data. Mm-hmm. Are we on track? Have we hit our quality standards? Where are we at with our labour hours? And what's coming up with the schedule?
Yeah, totally. Nice. So, checklist from here. Make sure that you do your stop doing list. You identify what tasks you need to delegate to your foreman, and you combine it with the foreman top 15 tasks. Yep. Make sure you build that into a weekly structure, and then ideally in the weekly calendar for that task, we then actually have a system or a checklist in that calendar time block.
You can buy back 1 day a week in the next 90 days by getting your foreman on side and training him up.
100%.
Because ultimately, you can also frame this as part of career planning. Like, Tom, where do you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Well, I'd like to run my own company. Fantastic. Awesome. What skills do you think you need to learn and know? Well, I need to be able to read plans. I need to be able to price a project. Because we haven't even discussed having the foreman price the labour hours by stage so that he's got more ownership. And before you even submit it for the job, you're like, well, hey, for the cladding, I've put down 85 hours. You've only put down 40. Why do you think that is? Well, I was going to have the 2 skilled carpenters actually do the cladding. And we're like, well, is that the right thing? And might go, yes, because just like one of our members, Brendan from Auckland, had a couple of his younger guys do the cladding, the weatherboards. They nailed them in the middle, and they all bowed, and he ended up with a $100K insurance claim.
Not fun.
No.
Not fun at all. Yes. So next steps from here, everybody. Ultimately, your foreman is one of the biggest leverage points in your business. And most of us are only 2 or 3 hires away from having a completely wild business of our dreams. One of those hires is a foreman, a fantastic one that can take care of the sites and pull you away from the site to work on the business instead. So next step from here is pretty straightforward. What we've got is the Foreman top 15 tasks you can download, compare that against your job description for the foreman, and work out your cadence for training
100%.
and leadership.
Train and incentivize them over the next 90 days, upskill them, and watch people thrive, rise up, and be able to take all that worry and concern of the day-to-day off your plate and start building a business that gives you true wealth, both more money and more time.
Yep. You don't build your business, your team do. So you build your team and they build the business.
Exactly.
Amen. All right. Well done.
Praise the Lord.